All right, people, thanks for tuning in. Aloha, it's Dave, and this is Save America Vote Tulsi Gabbard, the channel that I started to call attention to the best presidential candidate that is currently in the race for president. Her name is Tulsi Gabbard, in case you haven't heard of her. There's, a reason why you may not have heard of Tulsi Gabbard is in the media she's not really mentioned all that much. Beto O'Rourke, though, yeah, every day. So I want to call your attention to this story in RT America, that network you're not supposed to watch because, as you know, it's paid for in part by the folks over in Russia. Now, before I get over there and talk about this, I want to call everyone's attention to this, okay? Did a video yesterday, have 1,830 views on this video currently, and not a penny to show for it. Because it's not suitable. It's not suitable. Currently under review. And by the way, I have more than one. I've got this one here, which was all about Tulsi Gabbard helping our active duty military. Now, I didn't write out the word military. In the program that I use, sometimes I have to edit, and I forgot to edit that word. I don't think that really mattered, but that one was struck down. It's confirmed as not suitable because you're talking about, anti-war stuff, and so that one's not earning me any money. This one here featuring the incredible Bob Mueller, that one's not doing well either. So I posted my link or my email for my PayPal account on this platform. Okay, there's a way, and I figured this out not too long ago, where you can actually just do a written post, and I've actually gotten a couple of PayPal contributions already, and one of them was quite generous. So I am thanking those who've decided to support me in this channel. I'm kind of new at this. I'm not new to the YouTube revenue stream thing, but I don't do that much with PayPal, so I appreciate that. I've had a PayPal account for a little while, and I also have a Patreon, which is linked to my music channel. But if you donate over there, you're still going to get me, and I've even had a gentleman post on a music thread. And then we got to talking about non-music things. Some of the people over there are going to be quite surprised because I've really made that channel apolitical. So, let's read this article from RT America, shall we? The system-wide U.S. Russia-phobia that reached its nadir with RussiaGate has created a catastrophe for both domestic politics and foreign relations that threatens the future of the American system, says Professor Stephen Cohen. Tulsi Gabbard early on was talking about this new Cold War with Russia. And when I first began to follow her campaign, I'm like, what is she talking about? But think of it. Think of this. The media has ginned up a phony story, and they've used our relationship with Russia in order to create a narrative designed to take down Donald Trump. They're willing to risk the safety and security of the United States in order to impeach Donald Trump. Now, if you wanted to impeach Trump, and by the way, you're talking to a former Trump supporter here, I would go after the relationship he has with his son-in-law, and I would look into all of those business dealings that I betcha his son-in-law is orchestrating behind the scenes, and possibly even his daughter. But I would look at Jared Kushner. And that's nepotism, and then there's this unholy alliance with the state of Israel. Now, you can't bring that up. You can't say that, but I would I would truly look into that. If you wanted real corruption, and people have more, people have sent me other things, and I nod and I say, okay, but this is bad news. Okay, so here we go. War with Russia could easily break out if the U.S. insists on pursuing the policy of demonization that birthed RussiaGate instead of returning to détente and cooperation. New York professor emeritus of Russian history Stephen Cohen argues on Chris Hedges' On Contact. Now, that's a great show. If you have a chance to watch Chris Hedges. Chris Hedges is one of the smartest people in media. He's just, he operates way up here. He's just sharp guy. While NATO deliberately antagonized post-Soviet Russia by expanding up to its borders, the U.S. deployed missile defense systems along those borders after scrapping an arms treaty, leaving President Vladimir Putin devoid of illusions about the goodwill of the West, but armed with nuclear missiles that can evade and elude any missile defense system. Now is the time for a serious new arms control agreement. What do we get? RussiaGate instead. Okay, so this is a serious person talking about a serious issue. This isn't the tribal media just trying to take down Trump based on a hoax that the military-industrial complex hatched, and the media, who are really also just another arm of the MIC, have gone along with lock, stock, and barrel. And you can see it on mindless programs like The View. You see it on morning local newscasting. You really do. I've seen it here in Southwest Florida on local newscasts. It's pathetic how pervasive this is. Now, Cohen believes the conspiracy theory, which remains front-page news in U.S. media despite being thoroughly discredited, both by independent investigators. These independent people right here are what I care about. And last month by Special Counsel Robert Mueller's report is the work of the CIA and its former director John Brennan, who are dead set against any kind of cooperation with Russia. Okay? So this speaks to the idea that Trump ran on this idea of cooperation, whether you like Donald Trump or not. I actually believe that Trump holds on to that idea, even though he's more or less given over authority and control of his presidency to John Bolton right now. And if he fires Bolton, because that'll look good for, the short term, my guess is he'll install someone else who won't do it as openly as Bolton is doing it. They'll operate behind the scenes and do a little art of the deal where they talk about one thing while behind everybody's back they're going and doing another thing. And that's kind of what Trump has been up to. Attorney General William Barr, who is investigating the FBI over how the 2016 counterintelligence probe began, should take a look at Brennan and his agency, Cohen says. Now, my guess is that Stephen Cohen isn't a right-winger. Okay? What Stephen Cohen is a truther, in the real sense of the word. He's trying to get to the truth. And he goes on, if our intelligence services are off the reservation to the point that they can first try to destroy a presidential candidate and then a president, we need to know it, Cohen says. This is the worst scandal in American history. It's the worst at least since the Civil War. And the damage wrought by this catastrophe hasn't stopped at the U.S. border. The idea that Trump is a Russian agent has been devastating to our own institutions, to the presidency, to our electoral system, to Congress, to the American mainstream media, not to mention the damage it's done to American-Russian relations. The damage it has done to the way Russians, both elite Russians and young Russians, look at America today, Cohen declares, and the potential damage it could still cause is enormous. RussiaGate is one of the greatest new threats to national security. I have 5 listed in the book. Russia and China aren't on there. RussiaGate is number 1. So there you have it. Stephen Cohen telling it like it is. And why am I reading this? Because Tulsi Gabbard is really the only... I know Bernie Sanders recently has come around and said, yeah, we need to keep investigating. Mueller gives his open-ended, not sure what happened, but maybe Congress should take a look at it speech the other day. And Bernie in lockstep, Tulsi didn't say a word. Okay? Now, some people think, well, Tulsi's kind of just going through the motions. I've been hearing this more and more, and we're hoping that Tulsi will be Bernie's VP. Tulsi's campaign for president should catch fire after something like this comes out. But the only coverage it's getting is in Russia Today. And whether you want to believe this or not, Russia Today is a much better source of information than anything you're getting in the so-called legacy or mainstream media. Okay? Military-industrial complex sponsored media. So, Tulsi Gabbard has been talking about the new Cold War for quite some time. It's part of her campaign, and nobody ever says to Tulsi, just in a curious way, so what do you mean by new Cold War? Explain that to us. I've heard you use that term. Are they admitting that there's a new Cold War and they just don't have really an answer? Or they don't want to debate Tulsi on it because she'll, destroy them in the debate? Because she will, because she has the truth on her side, so she's going to win. Or if they open up that can of worms, are those worms going to infiltrate their television stations and people will start to call and inundate them with questions and how come you guys aren't covering the new Cold War? Look, I was not a fan of the first Cold War, and we're in a second Cold War, all pretty much generated by a rogue media that has decided that it's willing to put our country's national security at risk. Okay, they're willing to do that in order to take out Donald Trump. And it's really hard to fathom this now. I've been doing this for a little while. But when you wrap your brain around the fact that they're willing to do this, and I don't care if you like Trump or not, you can dislike Trump and go after him in the ways I already mentioned here in this video. But this fake hoax thing, this is destroying the country. And Stephen Cohen agrees, and he's a lot smarter than I am. It's just remarkable that nobody in the media is talking about this, but the reason is they've all been paid to say the same thing. So there you go. This is why Tulsi for president is so important, and her message is a message that will continue to resonate long into the future, which is a tragedy because our country now is more concerned about tribalism than about really doing what's right and keeping Americans safe. All right, done. Be back soon. See you then.